What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am Connor Speed 6. Today we are back in Forza Horizon 5 and I am driving the amazing Toyota Baja truck. This vehicle has been one of the best vehicles in Forza Horizon in both Forza Horizon 3, 4, and now Forza Horizon 5 for cross-country racing. So what I wanted to do today is take you through a step-by-step guide on my build as well as how to tune this Toyota Baja truck. Now it's actually pretty easy. Typically with cross-country vehicles, you tend to just want to keep everything kind of soft and squishy and allow the body to roll a little bit to help you get around corners and things like that. But I will go ahead and take you through each little step that I did take when building this vehicle, and I believe the 6.2 liter V8. But we'll head over to the Baja Outpost right now and dive into it. Now I was going to build this to the top of S1 class. However, when I was in there basically building and upgrading and adding everything that I could to the truck to get it up to S1 900, I couldn't actually get it there effectively. So what I did is I decided to back it down a little bit and reinstall the 6.2 liter V8, which is above and beyond the stock engine, but of course a little bit less than the V10 or the racing V8. Now for my vehicle, these are just the upgrades that I chose. Again, I did an engine swap into the 6.2 liter V8. I did an all-wheel drive swap, and then I installed the dual turbos. After that, the only real options you have for upgrades then would be upgrading the width of the tires, changing your wheels, and adjusting wheel size if you'd like to. Now, I did bump up the wheel size a little bit because number one, that adds a little weight, but then it also adjusts the handling and says your handling goes up a little bit. So I put those just one step higher into the 16-inch wheels, but I really didn't do anything else in the way of upgrades on the tires or the wheels. I do own, of course, the wider wheels just because I was testing, but I do have them stock width, and I have these stock Toyota Baja wheels. Now after that, we go to drivetrain. I installed the 8-speed transmission in this. It's a lot of gears to go through, but you don't even really use them. I haven't technically used up to 6th gear yet. I did not install a lightweight driveline, but I did install the off-road diff. And in the way of engine upgrades, I did, of course, upgrade to twin turbos to race. And then I pretty much left almost everything else kind of stock. I believe there are just a couple things in here that are upgraded, such as the race valves. I did upgrade the race exhaust, race engine block, of course, to save weight and gain horsepower, the race pistons and compression upgrade. After that, just installed a street intercooler just to kind of gap some PI. And then the full race oil and cooling, because first of all, when I upgraded this all the way, the PI went down a little bit. So that actually helped gain some horsepower, but also lower PI. No flywheel install or anything like that, because again, it's just a teeny tiny little weight drop, and it's not really that effective on anything other than, again, maybe 10 pounds worth of weight. So it's not really worth the upgrade. All right, so let's jump into the tuning. Now, when you are tuning your off-road or cross-country vehicles, you again want to make sure that you have enough room to where the vehicle has some space to sort of rock and roll a little bit, because again, you want to make sure the weight transfers out over the outside tires. That way it plants into the ground and helps you rotate around the corner. This truck does have the off-road tires, of course, on their stock, so there's no tire upgrade. So the tires in the way of PSI, I actually tested the really low end of PSI, and then I jumped it up over 20. Over 20, I was getting lots and lots of understeer, and under 20 at the very bottom of the spectrum, I think it's down to like 15 PSI. That was actually causing the outside of the tires to dig into the dirt more because they were flexing a little bit more. So I wasn't getting effective grip throughout the entire tire patch. So my PSI is front at 18.5, rear at 19.5. As for the gearing, like I said, I do have the 8-speed transmission installed, but again, I don't really use anything past 6th gear on this car, and 6th gear is pretty rare unless you're on a really long straight or going downhill. I adjusted the final drive mostly to top end because the truck in A-Class really doesn't have a ton of horsepower, and it's pretty heavy, so I wanted to sort of gear this out to where I could get the highest top end possible in the vehicle. So this is my preferred gear ratio. Everyone's gear ratio is going to be different, of course, and depends on your build. But these are my numbers, and this seems to work pretty well. All right, so here's kind of the meat and potatoes. from the alignment all the way down through the differentials where we're going to spend most of our time. Since your body roll is really needed in these cross-country vehicles, you want to make sure that your tires are cambered out on the bottom enough, or tilted in, of course, at the top, to where when your body does roll over, that tire patch actually has contact with the ground more. My front camber is a far negative -3.9, and then the rear at 3.0. The toe I adjusted just to 0.1 out, and then the caster set at 6. I tend to just keep all my vehicles around a 6 caster. That makes the vehicle require a little bit less front camber. Now the anti-roll bars, again, we want to keep the car a little bit mushy and give it some good body roll. So front anti-roll bars drop down to 10, rear put up to 32. It's just kind of a little bit lower than the midway point, but you could of course adjust this however you would like to. If you want a little bit more back end slide on oversteer, you could adjust it to make it a little bit tighter. If you want to get rid of some of that oversteer, you can adjust it to a little bit softer. This seems to be a pretty good balance for my cross-country build so far. The springs, front nearly full soft. The rear, I increased the stiffness just a little bit. That way I could get a little bit more oversteer in the vehicle. That way it kind of rotates around corners a little bit better. It won't have any issues spinning out though, I promise you that. Ride height, I lowered slightly, maybe 0.4, so it was like 13.2 and I dropped it to 12.8. Just left it at that, you know, the same height, front and rear, just to make it nice and level, because again, the truck has plenty of play when it comes to the spring rate and damping and rebound and things like that. So there's plenty of space here for the vehicle to land hard without completely bottoming out and making you kind of spin out or smash down really hard on the ground and lose traction. That's the biggest thing with these vehicles. Your springs are super, super soft, so you want to make sure that your vehicle is high enough so those don't completely compress and make you lose traction. Damping is extremely important, especially in cross-country vehicles. The amount of travel that your suspension has on any given jump or corner is far greater than any other type of vehicle out there. So the rebound actually decompresses that to keep the tires pushed down onto the ground, so you keep grip and keep your tires on the surface. Now, if they're a little bit too stiff, it's going to shoot down way too hard and bounce the vehicle around. Too soft, it's going to just basically be mush on top of mush. So you want to make sure and find a good balance there. The 7.8 in the front, 7.3 in the rear on rebound has worked for me on this vehicle. And then again, the bump stiffness, I've said it 100 times, you want it to be about 60% of the rebound stiffness. Again, the whole reason for the damping is to make sure that your tires keep in contact with the ground as much as possible. If your tires aren't on the ground, you have no grip. It's that simple. Vehicle has no aero, of course. I don't even think this truck has a front window, to be honest. The braking force, I left it a 50-50 split. I didn't put any bias to the front or rear, but I did, of course, raise the pressure up to 135%. That's just my preferred. You can always adjust accordingly. If you use ABS, you can set it up to 200, really doesn't matter. If you do not use ABS like I do, you need to find yourself a good balance there, especially on Horizon 5 where locking up your brakes is pretty easy to do. Okay, so as far as the differential goes here, the front acceleration and deceleration. Now the front acceleration I have set all the way to 0 basically. This actually helps your vehicle not understeer as much because there's less locking of the differential. The differential is not going to be trying to catch and rotate too much on the outside, which causes a lot of understeer. So less locking on the front especially helps the car kind of rotate or turn into the corner a little bit better. Deceleration set to 10, that should make the back end of the vehicle rotate around because it's locking a little bit faster than the front. Hopefully that makes sense. On the rear, acceleration to deceleration, pretty much the same thing. You want to make sure, especially in a higher powered vehicle, anything maybe 600 horsepower and higher, you want to make sure that you have your acceleration set anywhere from 30 to 40. I would probably say is kind of the sweet spot. And my deceleration on this truck is actually a little bit higher than what I typically build to or tune to. Typically my decel on the rear is around 10, 15 max, depending on the vehicle. But on this truck, again, to get a little bit more back end rotation going into a corner, I do have it set to 25. And the center balance I do have set to 65, so it's a 65-35 rear to front split when it comes to putting the power down. Now I will have this A-Class Toyota Baja truck tune shared for you. It again is built for cross country. You can use it for rally racing if you'd like to, but it is a really really good cross-country tune. It's probably not going to be the fastest out there because there's going to be somebody inevitably, of course, that has a V10 with barely any grip and just goes and sends it out there, but that's okay. If you'd like to use my tune, be sure to search it. My gamer tag is Connor Speed 6. Connor is with an E. Now let's go take this Baja truck out for a spin down a cross-country route, shall we? All right, so we are down here at Ekbalam, which is the Ekbalam cross-country circuit, I believe. I just jumped into Rivals really quick and picked whatever ghost it set up for me to run. This is actually a pretty decent one to test this on because it's kind of a tight event and there are some jumps to where we can actually see what it's going to feel like in a cross-country environment. But yeah, good car. Again, the truck is fantastic. It's always been one of the go-to cross-country vehicles for people in Forza Horizon. I would assume it's going to be in this game as well. A lot of people are using the Trailcat, which the Trailcat is basically just boatloads of power and zero grip, so you have to sort of basically just slide the thing all the way around the circuit in which you are driving. It's fun and it's ridiculously fast, but damn it, it's hard to drive. Yeah, as you can see, I'm doing pretty good. This person has a pretty quick time, but as you can see, it's dirty. So I will, of course, not have any problem beating that time actually on the first lap. So actually, yeah, let's see what the next lap is going to be here. So I actually got kicked out of the Rivals event after I finished the last lap that I was running. So I backed out, hopped back in, and my next rival is a friend of mine, Brad. It's PTG Toasty. So I'm just going to go up against his ghost really quickly. He is in a, I believe, a Class 10 buggy. I'm not even sure, I didn't look at it. I just hit A and went into the event. But again, the vehicle's great. The Toyota Baja truck is fantastic. It's quick. It's very grippy. It's much more grippy than the Jeep Trailcat, but it still gives us the slides that we look for in off-road and rally and cross-country racing. So you definitely still have, you know, that on your side, so you can really go full send in these things. But yeah, I like the tune. If you want to use it again, the tune is available for download. Let's see if I can beat Toasty on a flying lap here. I don't think I'm going to have a problem just because I was that close to him on a standing lap. So since this is a flyer, I should hypothetically be able to take him fairly easily. I'm not sure how quick that buggy is, or if he was even actually setting a Rivals lap or not. But I don't know. This isn't necessarily a Rivals build. This is just kind of an all-around build to help you in your cross-country races. So it should be pretty easy to pick up and get yourself through the events pretty easily, especially in some of the online things where it can get a bit dicey. So yeah, leave some feedback for me if you do download the tune. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments section below. We are staying ahead of Toasty right now on lap 2. Pretty good clip, maybe about a second ahead of him is where we're going to finish here. I could have taken that a little bit faster. I had a good exit though. Yeah, I really hope this helps you guys out. Oh, I'm going to dirty it on the last corner, of course. Well, either way, yeah, it looks like I was about a full second, 1.2 faster than Toasty there. But yeah, I really hope this helps you guys out with your builds. Again, if you'd like to download my tune, just let me know what you think about it in the comments below. But that's going to do it for me today, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like down below, a positive comment down in the comments section, and if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe for more weekly content like this. As always, I have been Connor Speed 6. Until next time, much love, everyone. See you soon.